Every morning, I get on the elevator with my biological mother. She knows me as the new project manager, but in reality, I am the daughter she gave up for adoption 20 years ago. And today, I will tell her who I really am. My name is Sarah Johnson. I'm 24 years old, and I work as the strategic planning manager at the prestigious Blackstone Enterprises company in Manhattan. But the story I'm about to share with you is far more complex than my professional success. This is a story of loss, search, revenge, and perhaps forgiveness. This morning, as usual, I am in the lobby of the office building at 8:15 a.m. I grab my coffee and head toward the elevator. My heart is racing because I know that this moment, which I experience every morning, will be very special today. The elevator arrives, the doors open, and there she is. Diana Mitchell, 47 years old, Human Resources Director at Blackstone Enterprises. She looks like the perfect career woman in her sleek gray suit, flawless makeup, and perfectly styled hair, but to me, she is so much more. She is my biological mother. Good morning, Sarah, she says with her usual professional smile. You have the Johnson Project presentation today, right? You must be excited. Good morning, Miss Mitchell, I reply, trying to hide the storm inside me. Yes, I'm really excited. As the elevator rises to the 12th floor, silence reigns. During this silence, I study her face. Her eyes are green, just like mine. The tip of her nose is slightly upturned, which I also have. Her lips are thin but expressive. 20 years ago, this woman brought me into this world, then took me out of it. When the elevator stops, Diana steps out. Good luck with your presentation, she says over her shoulder. Thank you, I say, but she's already walking away. When I arrive at my office, I sit down at my desk and take a deep breath. Today, I have a one on one meeting with Diana Mitchell. Officially, this meeting is about the company's new strategic plan, but in reality, it's much more than that. Today, I'm going to tell her who I am. I look at the framed photo on my desk. Sarah and James Johnson are my adoptive parents. They took me in when I was 6 months old and have been there for me every step of the way. They gave me love, support, and opportunities. But like every child, I wondered about my real family. When I turned 18, I gained access to my adoption records. What I learned that day changed my life. A woman named Diana Mitchell, 27 years old, had given birth to me in Manhattan and immediately put me up for adoption. The father's identity was listed as unknown. During my university years, I learned to live with this information. I studied business at Columbia University and earned an MBA from Harvard. At every step, I focused on becoming stronger and more successful, not just to build my own life, but to be equal to Diana Mitchell when I finally met her. And then that day came. When I applied to Blackstone Enterprises, I knew Diana Mitchell worked there. I had researched that she was the human resources manager and had a successful career. But instead of getting her to hire me, I wanted to earn the position on my own merits. I went through interviews, my references were checked, and I finally got the position of strategic planning manager. On my first day, when I was introduced to Diana, I didn't give any indication that I recognized her. She didn't notice anything either. Why would she? The last time she saw me, I was 6 months old. We've been working at the same company for the past 6 months. We run into each other in the hallways, sit next to each other in meetings, and sometimes eat lunch at the same table. She knows me as Sarah Johnson, a successful, talented young executive. But I know she's the daughter of Emily Sarah Mitchell. Over the past 6 months, I've observed her behavior at work, her relationships with her colleagues, how she handles stress. I've also done some research on her. I wanted to know how her life had continued after she gave birth to me, whether she had married, and if she had other children. Let me tell you what I found out. After giving birth to me, Diana focused on her career. She quickly rose through the ranks in human resources. At the age of 30, she married David Mitchell, but the marriage only lasted 3 years. They didn't have any children. After the divorce, she kept the surname Mitchell and continued living on her own. Her current life seems quite stable. She lives in a nice apartment in Manhattan, does yoga and visits museums on weekends, and goes out for brunch with her girlfriends once a month. She has social media accounts but isn't very active. She mostly shares her professional achievements or art events. The thing I'm most curious about is why she gave me up for adoption. No amount of research could answer that question. Only she could tell me. I look at my desk calendar. I have a meeting with Diana at 2:30 p.m. It's in conference room C, just the two of us. I requested this meeting under the pretext of discussing new employee integration and company culture. Diana accepted without suspecting anything. I'm trying to get my morning work done, but I'm having trouble concentrating. I'm answering emails and reviewing reports, but my mind is constantly on the meeting this afternoon. How am I going to start?
Hi, Diana. I'm the daughter you gave up for adoption 20 years ago. Or should I try a softer approach?
When lunchtime comes around, I don't feel like eating. The tension in my stomach won't let me. Instead, I go up to the roof terrace and think while looking out over Manhattan. This city is where my story began. 20 years ago, I was born here, probably not far from where I am now in a hospital. Diana was 27 at the time, and I was a newborn baby just opening my eyes to the world. What was she thinking when she left me? Was she scared, sad, or relieved? My adoptive parents, Sarah and James Johnson, have always been honest with me about this. When I was little, they told me I was a specially chosen child. They explained that my biological mother loved me very much but couldn't take care of me at the time, so she gave me to a family who could provide me with a better life. This explanation was enough when I was a child, but as I grew older, I wanted to know more. Especially during my teenage years, I would fantasize about my real family. Maybe one day they would come looking for me, or maybe they had very special reasons for giving me up.
When I became eligible to access my records in college, the truth was not as romantic as I had imagined. Diana Mitchell, a single woman, had given birth to me and given me up for adoption without leaving any explanation. There was no information about my father. The questions and emptiness that came with this situation have been with me for years. Now I'm here working at the same company as him. I see him every day, hear his voice, watch his facial expressions. Sometimes I find myself wondering what his childhood was like. Does he have the same sense of humor as me? Does he like the same books? Does he listen to the same music? At 2:25 p.m., I head to conference room C. I have a folder in my hand with fake documents. These are materials I prepared to hide my real reason for being here. But the real issue isn't in this folder, it's in my heart.
When I knock on the door, I hear Diana's voice come in. When I enter, she's sitting at her desk with her laptop open, wearing her glasses and looking at something. When she sees me, she smiles and takes off her glasses. Sarah, you're here. Please sit down, she says, pointing to the chair opposite her. I sit down and put the folder on the desk. I'm afraid she can hear my heart beating. How are you? She asks in a sincere tone. You looked a little nervous in the elevator this morning. I'm fine, thank you, I reply. It's just, I have a feeling today is going to be an important day. Diana smiles. For the Johnson Project presentation, I'm sure we'll go well. You've been here for 6 months and you're already doing impressive work.
Actually, I began feeling my voice tremble. I wanted to talk to you about something else. Diana looks curious. Of course, what is it?
I take a deep breath. This is the moment. The moment a 20-year-old secret will be revealed. Miss Mitchell, Diana, I pause. I struggle to find the words. Sarah, whatever it is you can tell me, Diana says, trying to encourage me. I'm Emily Sarah Mitchell, I say in one breath. The girl you gave up for adoption 20 years ago. Diana's expression freezes. Her eyes widen. Her mouth hangs slightly open. She seems to be trying to comprehend what she's heard. I I don't understand what you're saying, she says, her voice a little louder than a whisper.
20 years ago, in March 2004, you gave birth to me. You named me Emily Sarah Mitchell. 6 months later, you gave me up for adoption. I am that baby. Now I'm here, working at the same company as you. Diana leans back in her chair as if she's been physically struck. Her hands are shaken.
This isn't possible, she says. You're Sarah Johnson, strategic planning director.
That's right. Sarah Johnson is the name given to me by my adoptive family, but my birth name is Emily Sarah Mitchell, and you are my biological mother.
Diana's breathing changes. It quickens. She leans on the table as if she's about to lose her balance. How did you find me? She asks. Adoption records. I gained access when I turned 18. I found out your name. I researched you. When I found out you worked at Blackstone, I applied here. This can't be a coincidence, Diana says, shaking her head. You came here specifically to meet me. Yes, I admit, but I earned this position. I earned it with my own abilities. Diana stands up and starts pacing the room. She runs her hands through her hair.
This this is so complicated, she says. I left you behind 20 years ago. That life is over.
It didn't end for me, I say, my voice hardening a little. For 20 years, I wondered who you were, where you came from, why did you leave me? Diana's steps falter. She turns to me, tears in her eyes.
I was very young, she says. I was 27, focused on my career. Your father was married. Our relationship was a mistake. When I found out I was pregnant, I had nothing to give you.
Did you tell him, my father? Diana shakes her head. No, he already had another life, another family. I made the decision on my own. Do you ever regret it? The question hits Diana hard. She sits back in her chair and brings her hands to her face. Every day, she says through tears. Every damn day. But at the time, I thought I was doing the right thing. You deserved a better family. I have a good family, I say. Sarah and James Johnson are wonderful people. They love me very much and support me. I have no complaints about them. Then why are you here? Diana asks. Why did you find me? I'm prepared for this question, but it's still hard to answer.
Because I felt incomplete, I say. A part of my identity was missing. I wanted to know who I was, where I came from, what genes I was born with, and maybe I wanted to get to know you.
Diana looks at me across the table. For the first time, she really looks at me. Her previous glances were professional, distant, and polite. Now she looks at me like a mother looks at her child. My God, she whispers, your eyes are just like mine. How did I not notice? Because you didn't want to notice, I ask. Because that past is closed for you? Diana doesn't know how to respond to this accusation. There is a long silence. For the past 6 months, I continue. I've ridden the same elevator with you, attended the same meetings, even had lunch with you a few times. Didn't you ever feel anything? No, Diana says, honestly. I mean, you're a talented, intelligent young woman. I enjoyed working with you, but I never felt any connection. 20 years is a long time, I say. You left me as a baby. The woman sitting in this room is your baby. Diana's tears are now flowing uncontrollably. She pulls out a tissue and wipes her face.
I'm so sorry, she says. I didn't know. I imagined what it would be like, but actually meeting you, I don't want you to forgive me. I interrupt. I just want to understand. And maybe I want to get to know you.
Diana looks at me, her eyes wide with surprise. Get to know you?
Yes, what music you like, what books you read, what your childhood was like. Aren't you curious about my story? How I grew up, how I went to school, who my first love was?
A different expression appears on Diana's face curiosity, perhaps longing.
Of course I'm curious, she says. But is that ethical? I abandoned you. Do I have the right to come here and be curious about your life?
That's your decision, I say. I'm here. If you have questions, I can answer them. If not, I'll understand. Diana thinks for a long time. She folds her hands and takes deep breaths. What kind of child were you? She asks finally. This question makes me smile. For the first time in this conversation, I feel a positive emotion. Very curious, I say. I ask questions all the time and read books. My parents called me Little Professor because I always wanted to do research. What subjects? Everything. But I was especially interested in human behavior. I tried to understand why people made certain decisions. I think Diana is going to laugh, but she doesn't. She looks thoughtful. Is that why you studied business?
Partly, but the real reason was to understand your life, to be successful in business, to be on the same level as you.
On the same level?
Yes, I wanted to be someone who wouldn't disappoint you when we met one day.
This sentence deeply affects Diana. The tears start again. You're not someone who will disappoint me, she says. From what I've seen in the last 6 months, you're an extraordinary woman. Smart, hardworking, successful. But you didn't know that until you found out I was your daughter. Diana accepts this truth with a nod.
That's right. I didn't know.
How do you feel now?
Complicated, Diana says. Pride, sadness, regret, confusion, all mixed together. I feel complicated too, I say. But most of all, I feel empty.
Empty? Yes, a 20-year emptiness, your absence, my father's absence, not knowing my true origins. I want to fill that emptiness. Diana leans toward me, closer to the table. How can we fill it? By talking, I say, by getting to know each other. If you want to, of course. I want to, Diana says firmly. But how will that work? How will we act at work? We'll continue to be professional at work, I say. That's our personal business. But outside of work, maybe we could have coffee. Diana smiles. It's the first real smile she's given her daughter in 20 years.
Coffee would be nice, she says.
At that moment, there's a knock at the conference room door. We both jump. Who could that be? Diana asks. The door opens, and Mark Thompson, one of the human resources specialists, enters.
Diana, I'm sorry, but. Oh, Sarah, you're here too. Did you have an appointment?
Yes, Diana says quickly, trying to wipe away her tears. We were talking about employee integration with Sarah. Great, says Mark. Diana, there's an emergency. There's a problem with the Peterson contract. We need you in conference room A immediately. Diana looks at me, not knowing what to do. Go, I say. I'll wait here.
No, says Diana. Let's talk tonight. I'll text you.
Mark watches us curiously. Diana's suggestion must seem strange to him.
Okay, I say. See you later.
Diana looks back at me over her shoulder as she leaves the room. There is so much in her eyes: fear, curiosity, maybe even hope. After Mark leaves, I'm left alone. I'm not sure if the conversation just happened. A 20-year-old secret has been revealed. Diana now knows who I am.
I take out my phone and text my adoptive mother, Sarah Johnson.
Mom, something important happened today. Do you need to call me tonight? Her reply comes immediately. Of course, dear. I'm always here. What happened?
I'll tell you tonight. I love you.
I love you too. This exchange calms me down. No matter what happens, I have a family that loves and supports me. My life with Diana will be an addition to that, not a replacement. When I return to my office, I sit down at my desk and reflect on the day. This morning, I woke up as the normal Sarah Johnson. Now I'm ending my day as Emily Sarah Mitchell. My identity hasn't changed, but my story has expanded. I turn on my computer and try to do my normal work, but I can't concentrate. My mind keeps going back to Diana's facial expressions: shock, sadness, regret, curiosity. I remember each one clearly. What I remember most is her saying, I regretted it every day. So she's been suffering for 20 years. She didn't forget me, she just kept herself away. At 5:30 p.m., I get a message from Diana.
What we talked about today is very important to me. If you're free tonight, I'd like to get a coffee. What do you say?
I reply quickly, sure. Where shall we meet? At the Starbucks, 2 blocks away from the office. At 7 p.m., see you then. I'll see her in 2 hours. This time, not at work, but personally, as mother and daughter. I don't know how I'm going to spend these 2 hours. Should I go home and change? Or should I go straight to the coffee shop? What will I tell her? What will she tell me? Finally, I decide to go home, take a shower, and change. I want to look relaxed, but well groomed. I choose jeans, a white shirt, and a blazer jacket. I put my hair up in a bun. Looking at myself in the mirror, I realize how much I look like Diana. We have the same eyes, a similar nose, and even our lips are close. I wonder how she didn't notice how much we look alike. Maybe she didn't want to notice. Maybe she has left the past so far behind that she is not looking for it today.
At 6:45 p.m., I head to Starbucks. My stomach hurts a little from nerves. My 20-year longing will soon be over. Diana Mitchell will no longer be just the human resources manager, but my biological mother.
I don't know where this story will lead. Maybe we'll have a wonderful mother daughter relationship. Maybe we'll go our separate ways after a few conversations. But at least the truth is out. And today, for the first time in history, I'm going to have coffee with my biological mother. When I walk into Starbucks, I see Diana right away. She's sitting at a table in the corner with 2 cups of coffee in front of her. She stands up when she sees me and smiles slightly. Hello, she says, her voice soft. Hello, I reply.
We sit down, and there's an awkward silence. Unlike our professional conversations at work, we don't know what to talk about now. I got you a latte, Diana says. I always see you drinking latte at the office.
Thank you, I say. Touching the cup, it's warm. Sarah, Diana says, then pauses. Or should I say Emily? Sarah, I say. I've been Sarah for 23 years. Emily is just on my birth certificate. Diana nods. I understand. This is very complicated. Can I ask you a few questions? I ask.
Sure, you can ask anything.
What did you feel when you found out you were pregnant? Diana takes a deep breath. It's like she's been waiting for this question. Fear, she says. The first thing I felt was fear. I was 27, but I felt so young. My career was just starting. My financial situation was uncertain. And your father?
She pauses.
Can we talk about your father? I ask. Diana clasped her hands together, as if gathering her thoughts.
His name was Robert Chen, she said. He was a client of my company at the time. He was married with 2 children. Our relationship started professionally, but
You fell in love, I said. I fell in love, Diana said. I think he was just escaping his marriage. Our relationship lasted 3 months. When I found out I was pregnant, I told him.
what did he say?
Diana's face contorts with pain. That's your problem, he said. I already have a family, he said, and I never spoke to him again. This answer hurts me. My father didn't want me. Why did you choose to give him up for adoption? You could have raised him on your own. I thought about it, Diana says. I thought about it for months, but at the time I was working long hours to make money. I didn't have the time, energy, or resources to give him what he needed. I researched adoptive families and found Sarah and James Johnson.
How did you choose them?
Diana smiles genuinely for the first time. They were perfect, she says. Both were teachers, married for 8 years, and couldn't have children. When I met them, I could feel how loving they were. I knew they could give you everything. I couldn't. What did you feel after you left me? This question deeply affects Diana. Tears well up in her eyes.
Emptiness, she says. A terrible emptiness. The first few months were hell. I thought about you constantly, how you were growing up, your first smile, your first steps. I missed it all.
Did you ever try to find me? No, she says firmly. The adoption process was closed. We had no right to communicate, but maybe that was for the best. If I had followed you, I would never have been able to move forward. You wanted to move forward? I had to, Diana says. I couldn't have lived otherwise. I threw myself into my work, focused on my career. I married David because I thought I could build a family, but
But it didn't work out.
no. David was a good man, but I wasn't fair to him. I was always thinking about you. When I realized I didn't want other children, I ended the marriage. This information surprises me. Not wanting another child. Was that because of me?
Diana doesn't answer for a long time.
Partly, she says finally. After I left you, I didn't feel ready to be a mother to another child. It felt like I would be betraying you,
This answer both saddens me and strangely comforts me.
so I wasn't forgotten. What about now? I ask. How do you feel now? Diana takes a sip of her coffee and thinks.
Confusion, she says. Were you really that baby? Such a successful, intelligent, strong woman?
What did you think I would be like? I don't know, Diana says. I didn't try to imagine. It was too painful. But if I had imagined, I would have imagined you exactly as you are.
This comment makes me proud.
I was proud when I found out you were like this while researching you, I say. You researched me? Yes. Your LinkedIn profile, company information, interviews in the press. I saw that you were a successful, powerful woman.
And what did you think?
Two things, I say. First, I understood better why you let me go. Second, I wanted to be someone worthy of you. Diana's eyes fill with tears.
You are already worthy, she says. I've been watching you for the past 6 months without knowing who you were, of course. I've been very impressed with you. Really?
Really? On your first day, Mark said to me, "This girl is special." He was right. You're not just smart, you're also empathetic. And you have leadership qualities. Your coworkers love you. These compliments make me happy, but they also make me sad. I wish you were saying this to me as your daughter, I say. Diana takes my hand from the table. It's our first physical contact. "I'm saying it now," she says. "You're my daughter and I'm proud of you." Those words have a profound effect on me. It's what I've been waiting to hear for 20 years. "Thank you," I say, my voice trembling.
No, you don't have to thank me, Diana says. This is what I needed to say.
There's a moment of silence. We're both trying to process what's happened.
So, what happens now? I ask.
"What do you want?" Diana replies.
I want to get to know you, I say. Really get to know you. Not just Diana Mitchell, the human resources manager, but Diana, my mother.
"I want to get to know you too," Diana says. "I want to learn about your 23 years of life." "This won't be easy," I say. "How will we act at work? What if people notice?"
We'll keep it private, Diana says. We'll maintain our professional relationship at work. In our personal lives, we'll try to be mother and daughter.
"Try? It's not definite, is it?" Diana squeezes my hand. "Nothing is certain, Sarah," she says. "But I want to try. If you want to, of course." "I want to," I say decisively. "Then let's start with small steps," Diana says. "Are you free this weekend? Maybe we could have lunch?" "That would be great," I say.
Diana takes out her phone. I'll save your number, she says. Now we can stay in touch outside of work.
We exchange numbers. Even this simple gesture feels meaningful. "I have a few more questions," I say. "Go ahead." "Your family, I mean your grandparents, uncles, aunts." Diana's face crumbles.
My mom and dad passed away 10 years ago, she says. I never told them about you. I was an only child. I don't have any siblings. This information saddens me. I'll never get to know my grandparents.
"What kind of people were they?"
Diana smiles. My mom was very kind, she says. She always baked and chatted with the neighbors. My dad was calm and loved books. They would have loved you.
"You never told them I was born?" "No," Diana says, blushing. "At the time, my relationship with them was strained. I got pregnant before marriage. I was giving up my child. I was afraid they would judge me." "I understand," I say, but I feel a pang of disappointment inside. "What will you tell me about yourself?" Diana asks. "What was your childhood like?" I was expecting this question and am prepared. "I had a very happy childhood," I say. "My parents, Sarah and James, loved me very much. They never made me feel like I was adopted, but they treated me like their own child." "What were they like?" "My mother was a math teacher. She was very patient and understanding. My dad was a history teacher. He always told me stories. They both loved to read." Diana listens attentively.
Do you have any siblings?
"No, I grew up as an only child. But that didn't make me feel lonely. My mom and dad were very attentive." "How was your school life?" "I was a good student," I say, "but I also participated in social activities. I was in the drama club and played basketball." "The drama club?" Diana says, surprised. "I was in the drama club in high school too." This information surprises both of us. Our first common ground. "Really? What plays did you perform in?" "I played Juliet in Romeo and Juliet," Diana says proudly. "You?" "I played Juliet too," I say excitedly. We both smile. This coincidence brings us closer.
Do we have any other things in common? Diana asks.
I love music, I say. I play the piano. I used to play the piano when I was younger, Diana says. I don't have time now, but I still love it. What kind of music do you like? Classical, jazz, a little rock. You? Same, I say, plus pop music. Our conversation continues, and we discover more things we have in common. We both love reading books, especially psychological novels. We both prefer coffee to tea. We both like to get up early. These discoveries are both exciting and strange. I see the power of genetics. We grew up 20 years apart, but we have similar preferences in many things. What kind of child were you emotionally? Diana asks.
Quiet, I say, introverted. I thought a lot. Sometimes my mom and dad would say I was too serious.
I was like that too, says Diana. I was considered very serious as a child. Knowing that I was adopted affected me. I say, I used to think about my real family all the time. Diana is saddened by the statement. I'm sorry to hear that, she says. I wanted to make you happy, not sad. I wasn't sad. I quickly explain. I just felt incomplete sometimes, like a piece of my story was missing.
Has that piece fallen into place now?
I think before answering, it's starting to, I say, but it's not there yet. We need to talk more, get to know each other better. Diana nods.
I'll make time, she says, as much as it takes.
Me too, I say. Our coffees are finished, but we want to keep talking. Diana looks at her watch. It's 8:30, she says. We talked a lot. Yes, but it was nice, I say. It was very nice, Diana says. Should I call you this weekend for that lunch?
Sure, I'm looking forward to it.
When we stand up, Diana hugs me. It's our first hug. It feels strange but nice.
Sarah, she whispers in my ear. Tonight was very important to me.
It was to me too, I say. As we part, we both smile. We're not just co workers anymore, we're mother and daughter. On the way home, my mind is racing. I'm happy because Diana accepted me and wants to get to know me. But I'm also scared. What if this relationship fails? What if our expectations are too high? When I get home, I call my adoptive mother, Sarah.
Hello, sweetie, she says. How was your day? You mentioned something important this morning.
Mom, I say, I need to tell you something. She can tell from my voice that I'm serious.
What happened, honey?
I found my biological mother. Actually, she found me. It's complicated.
There's a moment of silence.
Sarah, this is huge. Where, how?
Long story, I say. We've been working at the same company for 6 months, and I told her the truth tonight. And what did she say?
She was shocked, of course, but we talked, and we're meeting this weekend. How do you feel? Mixed, I say honestly. Happy but scared too.
Normal, my mom says. Your dad and I always knew this day would come when you were ready.
Are you sad? I ask anxiously. No, dear, my mom says warmly. We will always be your real parents. That woman gave birth to you, but we raised you. Nothing will change. Her words reassure me. I love you, Mom, I say. I love you too, and if you want to get to know Diana, I'll support you. After hanging up, I feel better. My adoptive family is with me, and my biological mother wants to meet me. For the first time in my life, I feel whole, but I don't know if this feeling will last. The next morning, I run into Diana in the elevator on my way to the office. This time it's different. We both know what happened last night.
Good morning, Diana says with a small smile in her eyes.
Good morning, I reply. Did you sleep well? She asks, her tone personal. Yes. How about you?
I thought a lot, she says, but I slept well.
As the elevator stops, Diana whispers before getting out. I'll call you tonight. Let's make plans for the weekend.
Sure, I say. After she leaves, I smile. Everything is different now.
But the real change comes in the afternoon.
During lunch break, I'm eating in the cafeteria when Mark Thompson comes over.
Sarah, he says, I want to ask you something. Go ahead, Mark. How was your meeting with Diana yesterday? It seemed a little strange to me. Diana seemed very emotional.
I feel uneasy. We didn't want to be noticed, but Mark is observant.
It was a normal meeting, I say. Maybe she was upset about something else. Mark doesn't seem convinced. Diana said she would call you tonight. Is that normal? I mean, the human resources manager calling the new HR manager outside of work hours? This question puts me on the spot. I don't know what to say. Maybe it's something important, I say. My lie obvious. Mark looks suspicious but doesn't pursue it. But this conversation worries me. If Mark noticed, others may have noticed too. I should call Diana and warn her. In the afternoon, I call Diana and ask her to come to my office. What's wrong? She asks when she arrives. Mark was asking questions, I say. He thought our meeting yesterday was strange. Diana's face tenses up. What did he say? He asked why I was calling him tonight. He asked if it was normal. What did you say?
I said it might be important, but he wasn't convinced. Diana rubs her head. This could be a problem, she says. Company policy requires that personal relationships be reported.
What should we do? We'll be very careful, Diana says. We won't let anything show at work. What if Mark tells others? There's nothing to tell, Diana says. He's just suspicious. But we're both worried. This relationship has to stay secret, at least for now.
That evening, Diana calls me.
Hello, she says. Did you talk to Mark today?
No? Did you?
He came to me. He said he wanted to discuss human resources matters, but he was really asking about you. What did he ask? About your performance, your fit, your future plans. It sounded like an evaluation. This scares me. Diana, could this relationship put our jobs at risk? I don't know. Diana says honestly, company policies are clear. Close family members can't work in the same department. We're not in the same department. But I'm the human resources manager. Technically, I could influence all employees. This reality hits us hard.
What should we do? I ask.
We have two options, Diana says. Either we keep this relationship secret until we find another solution, or we reveal it and risk one of our jobs. Which solution do you suggest?
Keep it secret, Diana says, at least until we get to know each other better. Then we'll decide. All right, I say, but it's going to be difficult. I know, but it's worth a try.
We're both anxious as we finish our conversation. Will we keep our jobs, or will we keep the mother daughter relationship we have just discovered? The answer to that question will become clear in the coming days. And the next morning, an even bigger surprise awaits us at the office. There's a man standing at Diana's door. I don't recognize him, but Diana turns pale when she sees him. Robert, she whispers. The name sounds familiar. Then I remember Robert Chen. My father, Robert Chen. My father. He's standing in front of Diana's office with his back to me. He looks about 50 years old, of average height, with dark hair. He's wearing a suit and looks professional. He's talking to Diana, but I can't hear them. I'm frozen in the hallway. I don't know what to do. Should I go closer? Should I wait? Or should I walk away? Diana sees me and panics. Her eyes widen and she shakes her head slightly, signaling me to walk away. But it's too late. Robert Chen turns toward me, following Diana's gaze. I see my father's face for the first time.
He has Asian features and dark eyes. He's middle-aged but handsome. When he looks at me, his gaze is blank. Of course, he doesn't recognize me. To him, I'm just a young employee standing in the hallway.
I'm sorry, Diana says, turning to Robert. Let's talk inside.
She enters his office, Robert following behind her. The door closes.
I'm still standing in the hallway, in shock. I just saw my father. For the first time in my 24 years, I saw my father, and he didn't recognize me. Couldn't recognize me.
I go back to my office, but I can't concentrate. My mind keeps wandering to what was said in Diana's office. Why is Robert here? What is he talking to Diana about? Does he know me?
I check the time, like a clock. 20 minutes pass, then 30, then 45. Finally, Diana's office door opens. Robert comes out, a serious expression on his face. Diana follows him out, her face tense. Robert heads for the elevator. I immediately get up and go out into the hallway. When Diana sees me, she calls me over. Sarah, come to my office, she says, her voice trembling. When I enter her office, Diana collapses into her chair and covers her face with her hands. Was that Robert Chen? I ask. Yes, she whispers.
Why was he here?
Diana doesn't answer for a long time. Then she lowers her hands and looks at me. He's looking for you, she says. This answer shocks me. He's looking for me. How?
He hired a private investigator, Diana says. He found you.
What? How? Diana takes a deep breath. Last week, a private investigator came to see me. He said he was looking for the child I gave up for adoption 20 years ago. He said he was working for Robert Chen. My head is spinning. This is too much information. But why? Why is he looking for me after 20 years? Cancer, Diana says. What? Robert has cancer, terminal stage. The doctors give him 6 months. He wants to meet you before he dies.
This information completely shakes me. My father is dying and wants to know me.
Did you tell him I work here? No, Diana says firmly. The private investigator found my name and he tracked me down. I was in shock when he showed up here this morning. What did you tell him?
I told him that the adoption process was closed and that I couldn't give him any information, but he insisted.
How did he insist? Diana stands up and walks to the window.
He said, Diana, I'm dying. I made a big mistake 20 years ago. I don't want to die without knowing my daughter.
Diana's voice is choked with tears. And what did you say? I told him that his daughter, your daughter, has a wonderful life, that she's successful, happy, and loved. But I didn't give him any more information. Did he accept that? No, he said he wanted to write you a letter. If you want to read it? Diana takes an envelope from her desk. This letter is for you, she says.
I take the envelope. It says Emily Sarah Mitchell on it, my birth name. Should I read it? I ask.
It's your decision, says Diana. I open the envelope. Inside is a handwritten letter.
Dear Emily,
I don't know your name, but I've always thought of you as Emily. My heart is beating very fast as I write this letter. I am Robert Chen, your biological father. 20 years ago, I had a brief relationship with your mother, Diana. When I found out she was pregnant, I was scared and ran away. That was the biggest mistake of my life. At the time, I was a married man with 2 children. Your existence would have turned my world upside down. But now I understand that you could have been the most beautiful part of my world.
the doctors told me I have 6 months to live. I have terminal cancer. Before I die, I want to get to know you, apologize, and be your father.
I know I'm late. 20 years too late. But if you give me a chance, I'll try to be a real father for the time I have left. Please think about it. If you don't want to see me, I'll understand. But if you do, you can reach me through Diana.
I have always loved you. I just didn't know how to show it. Your father,
Robert Chen. When I finish the letter, my hands are shaking. It's the first message I've received from my father in 20 years. What do you think? Diana asks. I don't know, I say. Honestly, it's very complicated.
are you angry with him? Yes and no, I say. I'm angry that he left 20 years ago, but now that he wants to come back, I don't know.
Diana comes over and puts her hand on my shoulder. Don't rush into a decision, she says. You need time.
But he doesn't have time, I say. You said 6 months?
6 months is a long time, Diana says. You can think about it. At that moment, there is a knock on the office door. Mark Thompson enters. Diana, I'm sorry, but Sarah, you're here too. Yes, Mark. We were just discussing something, Diana says quickly.
Mark looks at us suspiciously.
Diana, who was that man who just left your office? He asks. Diana stiffens. A job interview? She says. Which company?
Diana doesn't know what to say. I intervene. Mark, I have to go. I have a meeting.
I get up and leave, but I stand in the hallway, pressing my ear against the door. I hear Mark's voice, Diana. You've been acting very strangely. for the past few days. Your relationship with Sarah is also different than usual. Is there a problem? I can't hear Diana's answer clearly, but she's clearly on the defensive. I return to my office but can't work. My mind is on Robert's letter and Mark's suspicions. This situation is unsustainable.
During lunch break, I called Diana.
Mark is very suspicious, I say. We have to do something. I know, says Diana. He's questioning me. What if we tell him the truth? We'll both lose our jobs, says Diana. Company policy is clear. Then what do we do? Let's wait a few more days, Diana says. Maybe Mark will lose interest. But Mark doesn't lose interest. On the contrary, he becomes even more suspicious. After lunch, Mark calls me into his office.
Sarah, he says, I need to talk to you.
Sure, Mark. Where should we talk?
In an empty meeting room. It's a private matter.
We go to conference room B. Mark closes the door. Sarah, I want to ask you directly. Is there a special relationship between you and Diana? This question puts me in a difficult position. I don't want to lie, but I can't tell him the truth either. What do you mean, Mark? Your behavior has changed a lot over the last few days. You seem closer, you communicate outside of work hours. Is this normal? Diana is my mentor, I say. She's a new employee and she's helping me. Mentor? Mark says suspiciously. It's not normal for human resources managers to mentor technical department managers.
He's right. That explanation is inconvincing.
Mark, why are you so suspicious? I ask. Because secret relationships like this can damage the company, he says. If there's a romantic relationship between you, it needs to be disclosed. Romantic? I say, surprised. Mark, that's ridiculous. Then explain it to me. What kind of relationship is it? I don't know what to say. If I tell the truth, we'll lose our jobs. If I lie, Mark will be even more suspicious. Mark, I say finally, there is nothing between Diana and me that crosses professional boundaries. Technically, that's true. A mother daughter relationship isn't romantic.
Mark doesn't seem to believe me, but he doesn't press the issue.
Okay, Sarah, but be careful. We have company policies. After the meeting, I call Diana and tell her what happened.
This can't go on, Diana says. Mark is getting too close to the truth.
What are we going to do? Let's talk in my place tonight. Diana says, we have to find a solution.
Okay, but we also need to talk about Robert.
Of course, we'll talk about everything. That evening, I go to Diana's place. She lives in a beautiful apartment in Manhattan. The decor is modern and minimalist. There are works of art on the walls.
Welcome, she says at the door.
Thank you. When I enter, I am surprised by how tidy her home is. Everything is in its place, clean, aesthetic. Would you like some coffee? She asks. Sure. I watch her as she prepares coffee in the kitchen. Diana seems more relaxed at home than she does at work. You have a beautiful home, I say. Thank you. I've lived here for 10 years. We move to the living room. I sit on the sofa, and she sits in the chair across from me. Let's talk about Mark first, Diana says. The situation is very risky. Yes. He asked me if we were in a romantic relationship. Diana is surprised.
Romantic? That never crossed my mind.
Me neither. But looking at it from the outside, I can understand. Two women, one young and one middle aged, acting close. That's true, says Diana, but the truth is even more complicated.
What happens if we tell the truth? Diana thinks for a long time.
We'll both lose our jobs, she says. Or at least I will. You could be transferred to another department. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Sarah, Diana says with a bitter smile. So what are we going to do? I have two options, Diana says. Either I quit or you get transferred. Isn't there a third option?
We keep it a secret, but that's very risky.
During this conversation, Robert's letter comes to mind. Diana, I say, I also have to make a decision about Robert. What do you think? I'm very angry with him, I say. He ran away 20 years ago. Now he's coming back because he's dying. I understand.
But he's my father and he's dying. Maybe this is my last chance to get to know him.
Diana shakes her head. It's your decision. What do you recommend? Diana thinks for a long time. See him so you won't have any regrets. She says finally, maybe you won't forgive him, maybe you will still be angry, but at least you won't wonder. That advice makes sense.
How do I get in touch with him? He left his card, Diana says. You can call him. She hands me Robert's card. It says Chen and Associates, a law firm.
A lawyer?
Yes, a successful lawyer. He has 3 children. He's divorced.
3 children? Yes, you're the 4th. This information feels strange. I have siblings.
Do they know about me?
I don't know, Diana says. Robert didn't say. I put the card in my pocket. I'll call him this weekend, I say. Good decision, Diana says. So what are we gonna do about Mark? On Monday morning, I'll give you a formal warning as Human Resources Manager, says Diana.
What?
I'll find a minor infraction, and I'll give you a written warning. I'll do it in front of Mark. That way we'll show that there's a professional distance between us. This plan upsets me. But it won't be real. No, it'll be an act, but Mark will be convinced.
Okay, I say reluctantly. Diana stays, comes over to me, and crouches down next to my chair.
Sarah, she says, I know this is hard, but we have no other choice right now. I know, I say. It's just I finally found you, and now we have to hide. It's temporary, Diana says. Once we sort things out at work, we'll go back to our normal relationship. Promise? Promise. We talk more at Diana's house that night about our childhood, our dreams, our fears. Every conversation brings us closer together.
I'm afraid of losing you, I say.
You won't lose me, Diana says. I'm here.
But we both know that the days ahead will be difficult.
When I arrive at the office on Monday morning, I receive an official email from Diana. Meeting room A, 10 a.m., Mark Thompson will be there, it says. When the time comes, I go to the meeting room. Diana and Mark are there. Sarah, Diana says coldly, please sit down. I sit down. Diana is across from me. Mark is on the side. Sarah, Diana says, we noticed some irregularities in your reports last week. This role playing makes me uncomfortable, but I play along.
What irregularities? There are inconsistencies in your time reports. This requires a written warning.
She hands me a document. It's a fake warning letter. I understand, I say.
If this happens again, there will be more serious consequences, says Diana.
Mark looks satisfied. Diana's harshness towards me has convinced him. Sarah, says Mark, you need to take Diana's warnings seriously. I will, I say. The meeting is over. Diana and I don't make eye contact.
But the act is working. Mark no longer suspects anything.
That same day during lunch break, I call Robert Chen. Hello, says a familiar voice. Mr. Chen, it's Emily. There is silence on the phone.
Emily, he says, trembling, is that really you?
Yes, I got your letter. My God, he says, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I want to see you, I say. Of course, when it's good for you.
This weekend.
Saturday lunch, wherever you want. Okay, I'll text you the address. Emily, she says, thank you for this. I know it's hard to forgive, but thank you for giving me a chance.
After I hang up, my hands are shaking. On Saturday, I'm going to meet my dad. I called Diana right away. I called him, I say. What happened?
We're meeting on Saturday. How do you feel? I'm scared. I say honestly. That's normal, says Diana. I'll be there if you want. No, it's okay.
No, says Diana, this is your father. You need to talk to him alone. She's right. This conversation needs to be between Robert and me. At the end of the week, 2 big changes happen. First, Mark's suspicions are cleared up. He now sees Diana and me as normal coworkers. Second, on Saturday, I will meet my father for the first time.
But the biggest change is the strengthening of the bond between Diana and me. Even though we have to keep it a secret at work, we are starting to build a real mother daughter relationship in our private lives. And on Saturday morning, I will be sitting across from Robert Chen at a restaurant. 20 years of curiosity will come to an end. But this encounter will not be what I expected. Robert Chen is hiding much bigger secrets.
Saturday morning, 11:30 a.m. I'm in front of the Garden Cafe restaurant in Midtown. My hands are sweating, my heart is racing. In 10 minutes, I'll meet my father. This morning, I spent hours thinking about what to wear. Finally, I chose a navy blue dress and a white blazer jacket. I wanted to look formal but warm. First impressions are important.
I enter the restaurant and immediately see Robert Chen. He is sitting at a table in the corner, constantly looking at the door. When he sees me, he stands up. As I approach, I can see him more clearly. He looks thinner than in the photos. His face is pale, and he has dark circles under his eyes. The effects of cancer are evident. Emily, he says, his voice trembling. Is it really you? Hello, Mr. Chen, I say. You can call me Sarah now. Sarah, he says with a smile. That's a beautiful name. You look very, very beautiful. We sit down at a table. There is an awkward silence. Neither of us knows what to say.
Thank you for coming, Robert says. I know it was a difficult decision.
Difficult, I say honestly. But I think it was the right decision. Robert opens the menus. Would you like to order something? Are you hungry?
Just coffee, I say. I'm too nervous to eat.
After we order, Robert looks at me. I don't know where to start, he says. From the beginning, I say, what happened 20 years ago? Robert takes a deep breath. 20 years ago, I was 30 years old, he says. Married, father of 2 children, a rising lawyer in my career. But I was unhappy. Why? My marriage had grown cold. My wife Linda and I were only together for the children. I was escaping into my work, and she was living in her own world. How did you meet Diana?
Through work, says Robert, her company was one of our clients. She was a very intelligent, beautiful, passionate woman. I fell in love with her. Was she in love with you too?
Robert pauses. Yes, he says finally. We were both in love, but I was married. So why did you run away when you found out Diana was pregnant? This question hits Robert hard. His eyes fill with tears. I was scared, he says. I was a coward. My marriage would have ended. I would have lost my children. My career would have been ruined. And I didn't think I could take responsibility. You told Diana, this is your problem. Robert buries his face in his hands. It was the biggest mistake of my life, he says. I've regretted it every day, every damn day. But you didn't come looking for me for 20 years. Because I didn't think I had the right. Robert says, I abandoned you. Diana made the right decision. She gave you a better family. I would have only messed up her life. What changed? Robert touches his chest. Cancer, he says. I was diagnosed 6 months ago, stage 4. I'm not getting treatment anymore, just painkillers. This information upsets me. As angry as I am, it's hard to see him in pain. I'm sorry, I say. Thank you, Robert says. But I'm not sorry. Maybe I got what I deserved. That's very harsh.
Maybe, Robert says. But the truth is, when I found out about the cancer, the first thing I thought of was you. My daughter. The daughter I never knew.
The coffees arrive. We both take a sip.
What do you want from me? I ask. Just to know you, Robert says, to learn who you are, how you grew up, what you love, what you want, and if it's possible, if it's not too much to ask, to try to be your father for the time I have left.
Become a father 20 years later. I know it sounds crazy, Robert says, but it's worth a try.
What about my wife and children?
Linda and I divorced 5 years ago, Robert says. I have a good relationship with my children. They want to meet you. This surprises me. Do they know about me? Yes, says Robert. When I found out about the cancer, I told them everything. That I had another daughter, that I never knew her. At first, they were shocked, but then they understood. What did they say? Jennifer, she's 22, said, Dad, you have to find her. She's our sister. Michael, he's 19, said, You're late, but better late than never.
This information makes me emotional. My siblings want to get to know me.
Can I meet them? Robert's face lights up.
Of course, they really want to meet you. Actually,
He pauses. Actually, what? They're here today. They're waiting at a nearby cafe. If you want, I can introduce you. This is happening so fast.
are they here?
Yes, but only if you want to. I'm not pushing you.
I think about it. This is a big step.
I want to see them, I say finally. Robert immediately takes out his phone. Jennifer? Yes, you can come. Yes, she's here. 5 minutes later, the restaurant door opens. A young woman and man walk in. They both look at me.
Jennifer is tall with dark hair and beautiful. Michael is of medium height with dark hair and looks like my father.
They come over to our table. They are excited. Sarah, says Robert, this is Jennifer and Michael. They're your siblings. Jennifer sits down next to me right away.
Hello, she says with a smile. I've been wondering about you.
Michael sits across from me. Dad always talked about you, he says, but he was very sad that he never got to meet you.
This explanation surprises me.
He talked about me? Yes, says Jennifer. Especially in recent years, he would say, I have another daughter, but I never got to know her. Robert looks embarrassed. Kids, he says, don't talk so much. No, I say, I want to hear. Jennifer continues excitedly.
Dad researched you. He found out which university you went to, what job you had. He was proud of you. He looked into it.
Robert nods. Yes, the adoption records were closed, but I hired a private investigator. I was so proud when I found out you had such a successful career. Why didn't you come sooner? Because I didn't think I had the right, Robert says. You were happy, successful, I would have only caused trouble. Michael interrupts. Dad always said he's better off without me, but I always said maybe he wants to get to know you. He was right, I say to Michael. We talk for an hour. Jennifer and Michael tell me about their lives. Jennifer is a senior in college, studying sociology. Michael is at community college, studying music. Do you play music? Michael asks. I play the piano, I say.
Me too. Maybe we can play it together. I'm excited by the idea. That would be great.
Robert is watching us, a look of happiness in his eyes.
That's wonderful, he says. My children are getting to know each other.
But then he becomes serious. Sarah, he says, there's something else I want to tell you. What is it? I've changed my will. If you accept, you'll get a share of my inheritance. This surprises me. Why are you doing this?
Because you're my daughter, Robert says. I didn't be a father to you for 20 years, but at least I can leave you something after I die.
Jennifer and Michael nod. We wanted to, says Jennifer. You're our sister. This gesture moves me deeply, but it also makes me uncomfortable. I don't need your money, I say. I have my own career. It's not about the money, says Robert. It's about being a family.
At 3 p.m., our meeting is over. Robert looks very tired.
I have to go, he says. I have a doctor's appointment. We get up. Robert hugs me.
Thank you, he says in my ear. This means everything to me.
It means a lot to me too, I say. Jennifer and Michael hug me too. Let's meet again next week, says Jennifer. We have more to talk about.
Sure, I say.
As I leave, I have mixed feelings. I'm happy because I got to meet my father and siblings, but I'm sad because Robert is dying. When I get home, I call Diana.
How did it go? She asks.
Complicated, I say, but good. I tell her everything about Robert's illness, my siblings, the inheritance. How do you feel? Diana asks. Strong, I say. For the first time in my life, I feel complete. Mom, Dad, siblings, I have a real family.
That's wonderful, Sarah.
Diana, I say, You're part of this family too. You're my mom. I know, Diana says, and I'm very proud of you. The following week, Robert, Jennifer, Michael, and I start meeting regularly. With each meeting, we learn more about each other.
Robert tells me about his childhood. He comes from an Asian family, hardworking and success oriented. That's why I understand why he shies away from responsibility.
Jennifer and Michael introduce me to their friends. They introduce me as their sister. This makes me very happy.
A month later, Robert's condition worsens. He's admitted to the hospital. When I visit him, he is very weak. Sarah, he says, breathing heavily, I need to talk to you.
Yes, Dad. It's the first time I've ever called him that.
Do you forgive me? I need to think about that question.
Not completely, I say honestly, but I understand you, and I love you. I love you too, Robert says through his tears. You are the best thing that ever happened to me. I've learned so much from you. I say I got to know my siblings. I learned what it means to be a real family. How's Diana? He asks. She's fine. We've grown closer. We're like a real mother and daughter now. That makes me happy, Robert says. I wanted to see you both happy. That night, Robert Chen passes away peacefully. Jennifer, Michael, and I are by his side. Diana also comes to the funeral. For the first time, we are all standing together. Diana, Jennifer, Michael, and me. A strange family, but a real family. After the funeral, the will is read. Robert really did leave me something. It's not a large amount, but it's meaningful.
What are you going to do with the money? Jennifer asks. I don't know, I say. Maybe I'll start a charity for foster children. That's a wonderful idea, Michael says.
There are also big changes at work. Mark Thompson is transferred to another department. The new manager who replaces him doesn't notice the closeness between Diana and me. Diana and I can now talk openly. We act professional at work, but in our private lives, we're like mother and daughter.
We have brunch together on weekends, we go shopping, we talk about books and movies. We're trying to fill the 20-year gap.
6 months later, company policy changes. Family members are now allowed to work for the same company. We no longer have to hide. Diana can officially call me daughter. I can call her mom. A year later, Jennifer graduates from college. Michael finishes music school. I support both of them at their ceremonies. We're so lucky to have you as our sister, says Jennifer. I'm lucky to have you as my sister, I say. Diana and I continue to grow closer. There are things I learn from her, things I teach her. We're building a real mother daughter relationship. 2 years later, the charity I started for adopted children is a huge success. I named it the Emily Foundation, after my birth name.
Diana is on the board of directors. Jennifer works as a social worker. Michael provides music therapy to children.
We are doing great work together.
3 years later, it is Diana's 50th birthday. We throw a big party. Jennifer, Michael, my adoptive parents, Sarah and James Johnson, my coworker, everyone is there.
During the party, Diana gives a speech. 20 years ago, I made a very difficult decision, she says. I gave my daughter up for adoption. I have regretted it every day since that day. But now I understand that it was the right decision. Sarah grew up with a wonderful family, and now we are both stronger people and we have come together. She turns to me. Sarah, you are my pride and joy. I'm not proud because I gave birth to you, but because of who you are. Everyone applauds. I stand up and hug Diana. I love you too, Mom, I say. We may have met late in life, but we met at the right time.
After the party, Jennifer, Michael, and I give Diana our surprise gift. It's a family photo of the three of us together in a beautiful frame.
Emily Foundation, Mitchell Family is written underneath of it. Diana starts to cry. This is the best gift ever, she says. I have a real family. Yes, I say, and none of us are alone anymore. That night, as I drive home, I look at myself in the mirror. The woman I didn't know 3 years ago is gone. Now I know who I am. I am Sarah Johnson, Diana Mitchell's daughter, Robert Chen's daughter, Jennifer, and Michael's sister. I am the director of strategic planning at Blackstone Enterprises. I am the founder of the Emily Foundation. But most importantly, I am now a loved and loving person. My 20-year search is over. The void has been filled. My story is complete. Every morning, when I get on the elevator with Diana, we no longer hide. She is my mother, and I am her daughter. Everyone knows, and everyone is happy. Good morning, my daughter, she says. Good morning, Mom, I reply. And then we walk toward another day, another adventure, together because we are now a real family.